everyone, myself Dr. Lakshmi Prasad, working as an associate professor in the Department of Data Science in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. In this video, I am going to discuss about what are the basic concepts of R programming under the concept of principles of data science. So before going to see that, so very first thing is that data types. So data types is nothing but uh, the variables in the data type should be of different types. So every kind of programming language is able to define what type of data it is normally. So for that every kind of programming language like C, C++, and Java programming, there are different types of data like integer, float, primary, secondary, and user defined data types. Again, if I don't to take primary one, then again it should be integer, float, character, like that. So here also in programming, we are going to see different types of data. So the variables are assigned with the OR objects, and the data type of OR object becomes the data type of that variable. And there are many types of OR objects. So frequently used one are vectors, lists, and then matrices, arrays, factors, and then data frames. Okay, so there are different types of variables that are available when it comes to this. So here in this programming, the variables are going to be considered as an OR objects, and the data type of our object becomes the data type of that variable here. And there are many types of our objects. So frequently used are vectors, lists, matrices, arrays, factors, and then data frames. Let's see one by one. And we're going to see what are the types of operators that may come in our programming. So that should be arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, and some of the miscellaneous operators. So some of the arithmetic operators may be plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus. And relational operators may be less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. Okay, and logical operators is nothing but and, or, and assignment operator equal to, and some other miscellaneous operators also going to be there in our programming. So are many of the know that the arithmetic operators are nothing but addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And relational operators are going to be used if you are going to compare more than two variables. Suppose I want to compare A and B, and I want to compare B and C. So in this type of statement, the relational operators are going to be used, if A is greater than or equal to B or not, like that, and all. And similarly, uh, logical operators. So logical operators is going to be used if I want to test the condition more than that, like if A is greater than B and B is greater than C, and again then print A is big, and else if B is greater than C and B is greater than A, then print B is big, like this. So this kind of more than one condition, if I want to check, then I have to make use of this assignment operator. Suppose, and assignment operators is nothing but if I want to assign some value to the variable, then it should be treated as assignment operator here. So vector, so when you are going to create a vector of more than one element, then how to make use of CF function is going to be used, which is going to be combine the elements into vector. And so list is nothing but which may contain different data types of elements like vectors, functions, even other lists also may include it. And matrix, so matrix is also a two-dimensional rectangular data sets, and it can be created using the vector input to the matrix function. Okay, so a vector is going to be created with more than one element. So by using make use of 3D function called CF function. That means which is going to combine the elements into vector. And another thing is a list here. So the list is nothing but a or object, and which may also contain different data types of elements. Like one thing may be a vector, functions, and even other kind of list also be included. And matrix. So matrix is nothing but two-dimensional rectangular data set, and this can be created using vector input in matrix function. Next one is array. So array is nothing but a collection of homogeneous elements. So in C program you can able to write like this, and similarly in Java you can able to write this. So this should be the declaration of array. And similarly array can also be used in R. So here you can able to define the dimensions. And arrays can be of any number of dimensions, and a function is able to take the dim attribute here, so which creates the required number of dimension. So based on the dim attribute you can able to create. So normally in C programming this should be the dimension. Okay, so these are the dimensions. So similarly our programming you can able to make use of dim attribute here. Next one is factors. So factors are nothing but an or objects, so which are created using a vector, and it stores the vector along the distant values of elements in the vector as labels, and the labels are always a character, irrespective of whether it is a numeric or a character or it may be a boolean, and useful in statistical modeling. So the factors are objects, so which is going to be created using a vector here, and stores the vector along the distant values of elements, and the labels are always character and irrespective of whether it is a numeric character or boolean, and it should be useful in the statistical modeling also. And data frames, so it is another kind of data or type, so that can be used. So here the data frames are the tabular data objects, unlike a matrix in data frame. So each column contains a different modes of data, and the first column can be numeric here, while the second column can be a character, and third column may be a logical here. It is a list of vectors of equal length, and the data frames are going to be created using data.frame of function. So the data frames are tabular objects. So here what you can able to say that is a matrix in data frame can be each column, and it should be of different modes of data, which should not be like matrix. And here the first column should be a numeric one, and the second column may be a character, and third thing should be a logical one. So okay, and it should be a collection of vectors of equal length, and this data frame can be created by making use of the function called as a data.frame of function. Variables, so is the other kind of the thing we can able to know. So a variable is going to provide the name storage that our programs can be manipulate, and the variable in R can store atomic vector, group of atom vectors, or a combination of many more objects. So a valid variable name consists of letters, numbers, and dot and underline characters, and the variable name starts with the letter or the dot do not follow a number. So here the variable provides us with a named storage that our programs can be manipulated, and the variable in R can store atomic vector, or it may be a group of atomic vectors or combination of or objects. A variable name consists of letters, numbers, and underlined characters, and the variable name should start with a letter and dot, not followed a number. So these are the variables. And what are the rules we have to be follow for creating a variable? So for that, so there are many programming languages also going to follow some convention for declaring a variable. Let's see that. So variable underscore name. So it should be a valid one. So the reason is it should have letters, numbers, dots, and then underscore. So next one, I'm going to use a percentage here. So it should not be invalid. It should be invalid one. So since the percentage should not be comes it as an underscore, but it should only the dot and underscore is going to be allowed here. And starts with the number, so this should also be an invalid one. So since it is going to start with the number, so this one also be not supported in C and Java as well, and this one also, and it should able to support in C and Java also. And first thing should be a dot operator followed by underscore and variable dot name. So this should be a valid one. So since it is going to start with the dot operator, but the dot should not be followed by a number here. So that is the problem. So but in C and Java, this should be also an invalid statement. Whereas in our programming, it can able to start with a dot operator and followed by a name is also. And dot operator number should also be an invalid one. So since the starting dot is followed by number, make it as an invalid. So here it should be a character after the dot, so it should be a valid one. And next one, underscore variable name, so it should be also invalid, and it should be, since it is going to start with underscore. Then variable assignment. So here the variable can be assigned using left word, right word, and equal to operator. And the values of the variables can be printed using printf function or catf function. The catf function combines the multiple items in a continuous. Okay. So the variable can be assigned using left word, right word, using operator, like variable name is equal to value. So syntax and example should be let a equal to 10 and b is equal to character c, like that. So the values of variables can also be printed by use of printf function. So printf is the function. So whereas in C it should be printf, whereas in Java it should be system.out.println. So this should be R, C, and then it should be Java. And I can also make use of this scatter function also as well. And this scatter function, normally what I'm going to do this is it's going to combine the multiple items into a continuous system. And next one should be data type of the variable. So normally in R, there are different types of variables. The variable itself cannot be declared as a data type. So rather than it gets the data type of the R object assigned to it. So normally in many programming languages, the variables are not going to be self-declared, right? So here in R also it should be like that, and the data type of the R object can be assigned to it. So R is called a dynamically typed language, which means that we are going to change the variable data type of the same variable again and again when we are going to using it in a program. So that means the R is the dynamically typed language, which means that we can able to change the variable data type of the same variable also again and again using the in a program. So normally it should be fixed in any kind of programming language. So if I'm going to use this a and b should be as an integer, in C or Java it should be integer only, but it should not be dynamically changed. Dynamical support is not to be there, but in R This A and B can also be changed according to the application of the program, whether it may be an integer, float, or whatever it is, according to that, since it is going to be treated as an object here. Finding the variable. So how can I able to know that what are the variables available? So to know the variables are currently available in the workspace, so we can able to use of lf function is going to be used, and this lf function use the pattern to match the variable names like print ls, and this ls function can be used the pattern to match the variable name as well. So like print of ls of pattern is equal to variable name. I can be able to know that variable what I'm going to start with this variable. And these variables cannot be started with dot, but they should be considered as a hidden. And they can be listed by using all dot names equal to true. So using this statement, I can able to print all the names of the variable. Okay. So to find the variables, so normally I'm going to use of lf function. So print lf substance what are the variables that are available that I can able to know. But this lf function is used to patterns to match the variable names. And the variable name, the variable is going to be start with dot operator here, and they can be listed using all names dot to equal to true. But so the print ls of all name dot true. And next one is decision making. So decision making structures require the programmer to specify one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program along the statement or the statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be true, and optionally other statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be false. Okay, so decision making statements also be available in many other programming structure to specify more than one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested. So along the statements to be executed, the condition is said to be true, then the statements are going to be false. So some of the decision making statements in most programming languages will be if else nested if like that. So are also going to support decision making statements. So initially you can able to make the condition. If the condition is true, then the conditional code will be executed. If the condition is false, then you can able to come sort of that loop. Okay, and one of that should be if statement. So if statement consists of a boolean expression followed by one or more statements here. So if boolean expression, then statements will be executed, and the boolean condition is going to be true here. So let it be, suppose if a is greater than b, then you can able to write print a is big. So this is the one of the simple if statements. So what is the expression I'm writing here? That should be boolean expression, and these statements that should be a body of the function should be executed whenever it is going to be true. And if else is the other kind of statement. Suppose if a is greater than b, print a is big, else print b is big. So this is the other kind of the statements. So if the statement is going to be followed, that is going to be optional, then it should be execute the programming language according to the type of application. And if the boolean expression is true, then the whenever that statements are going to be executed, then only if the current statement expression is false, then the statements will be executed whenever it's going to be false. And next one is that if and else if. This is the other kind of statement where I can able to use of this like so printing the days in a week and printing the months in a year. That kind of applications I can able to make use of this if else if. So this one is going to be used like if you are going to have 0 1 else, then it should become after any number of else if. And if we have 0 at many else if, and they should be come before the else. So once an else is going to be succeed, so none of the remaining else will be tested here. So let's see the structure. This is the example of this else if later. So if I'm going to consider one boolean expression, so whenever the statement is true, then the statement 1 is going to be executed, and this block of statement will be executed whenever this condition is true. If the condition is false, then we can able to check this one again, and if then again is false, then again we have to check this, and the statements what I have written in this one is going to be executed here. So if all the statements are not executed, not satisfied, then the statements what I wrote in the else block will be executed. Then R functions. So R is the other functions I'm going to use to make a certain number of times. The R function is going to be accept the input arguments and produces the output by executing the valid or commands that are inside of the function. So normally in R, if I'm going to create a function, then function name, then the file in which we are going to create the function need to be same here. So normally the functions are going to be created by using a function called function of. So normally by making use of the predefined function, you can able to declare the function in R programming. So the general structure should be the function name. So this one function and function arguments. So and then function body is going to be created. So normally in C programming, how can you able to write the function? So return type and then function ABC, like this I can able to write. So when it comes to R programming, we can able to write it as function of, and the function name should be ABC. So that is the difference. So the types of functions and the different categories of functions and function call remain, everything should be same, only the function declaration is going to be changed here. So normally in functions are nothing but the building blocks of the program. So different types of functions will be function with arguments with written values, and function without arguments without written values, and the function with arguments without written values, and function without arguments and with written value. Okay, so these are some, and the function calls will be called by value, and called by a reference. So these are the two types of function calls, and these are the different categories of functions, and function types will be normally this one able to call it as a categories, and types should be user defined and predefined functions. So the functions are going to be defined in the program, it should be called as predefined, and function which is going to be write by the user called as the user defined function. So these are some of the different categories of functions. So let's see one by one. So user defined function. So user defined function is nothing but it should be provide print and then cat. So these and all should be called as a predefined functions. Since the function how it is going to be work, everything is already predefined. So then the function called as a predefined function. Suppose the function which is going to be write by the user, then it should be considered as the user defined function. So whenever the user is writing the function code, that will comes under the user defined function. So let's see the simple or function to check whether the x is even or odd. So I can able to write, so I can create a function with the function keyword, and the function name is even odd. So let if x percent is equal to 0, then return even, else odd. So print even odd of 4 and print even odd of 3. So where I'm going to pass the function into the print object here. So print of 4 means, so x value become 4, 4% is equal to 0, true, so even is going to print it. If I'm going to pass 3, so 3% is not equal to 0, yes, so that's why it should be odd. So like this I can able to print define, predefined, user defined functions. Okay, so these are the different basics of our programming. So in this video what I covered the data types and what are the different types of data types and studied, that should be vectors, lists, matrices, arrays, factors and frames. So operators is the other thing. So different types of operators may be arithmetic, relational, logical, and assignment and miscellaneous operator. And vectors is nothing but which is going to be create a vector of more than one element, then you should make use of the COF function. And list is the other kind of data type, so it should also be an object containing of different types of data like one vector, function, and even other kind of list can also be included. And the matrix is already a two-dimensional rectangle data set which should be able to create it by making use of matrix function. So arrays are nothing but one dimensional, two dimensional. So in on dimension is going to be created on an array using use of dim attribute, and the factor is another kind of object which is going to be created using a vector. So it stores the vector as a distinct values here, and the labels should be numeric, character or boolean. Data frames. So data frames are nothing but data objects. So the first column of the numeric and second column should be character, and the my third thing should be logical. And these data frames are going to be created by use of data dot frames. And the variables. So variables can also be created, but all the variables should starts with numbers followed by dot and then characters, but these are some of the conventions that can able to use only the two things you have to remember. So the variable should start with the character, or it should be a start with dot operator followed by underscore, and also I can able to use of dot in between the variable name and variable assignment and data type of the variable, and finding the variable by make use of LSR function. And this LSR function can be used to print what are the variables that are available, and decision making statements like if the condition is true, what is going to happen, if the condition is false, what is going to be happen, and if statements means a boolean expression that is going to be true, else if is nothing but one condition true, then that block will be executed. If the condition false, then the statements what I wrote in else block will be executed. And else if block is another kind of structure and syntax of this like this. And OR functions. So OR functions are going to be used, which is going to be make use of different types of functions, like a function with argument with return value, function without argument without return values like this. And call by values also same, call by value, call by reference, and the types also different, user defined and predefined. And this is the example of user defined function. What I thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.